Hello, I'm Amy Harbison. Welcome to Seniors Today, a monthly program produced by the Commission on Aging, devoted entirely to issues and interests of Montgomery County seniors. This month, we meet the recipients of this year's Neal Potter Path of Achievement Awards. But first, the 50 Plus Volunteer Network connects over 50 Montgomery County residents with purposeful volunteer opportunities. Here to talk about the program are Gretchen, Zekiel, and Deborah, Missal. Ladies, thank you so much for coming today.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Last time you were here on Seniors Today, this program was just about to launch, and here you are about 18 months later. Tell us what the program is all about, first of all, and what is it like 18 years in? 18 months in,
18
right?
months.
18 months in.
We hope to tell you what it's like 18 years
We'll
in.
get
I'm sure
back
you
to
will.
us then. So the 50 Plus Volunteer Network came about with the recognition that there were some societal and demographic changes that we were seeing as the population ages, and that people who are leaving the workforce are looking for a very active retirement, and they want a chance to be useful and do something meaningful and make a difference by volunteering. And the Montgomery County Volunteer Center has a searchable database of volunteer opportunities that connects people to volunteer, places to volunteer throughout the county. But for what we found is that with this population in particular, people over 50 who are looking to make a meaningful, significant contribution of their time and possibly to use their professional skills in some way, they needed a little help and a little guidance in figuring out what they want to do and who they want to do it for. And the nonprofit community was really interested in our program because they recognize that this is this huge reservoir of talent, that they can benefit from the skills and the passion of this population.
Right.
So how do you put them together?
Yes.
And that was what the challenge that Gretchen and I were tasked with when we started the program, to put something together where we could match these people who are looking for a place to volunteer with these agencies that could use them.
Great. And Gretchen, what does it look like now that you've been doing this for 18 months? What are some of the significant sort of stats of your work so far?
Well, we have placed more than 150 volunteers at this point.
Terrific.
At all kinds of agencies and in all different kinds of positions. And most of our volunteers are retirees. Most of them are, we've placed people who are 50 plus to 80 plus.
Wow.
From all different parts of the county, very diverse careers. Most of them are retired. They've retired from fields including law and business, education, public policy, administrative positions, just really sort of the whole gambit. We've also served empty nesters who are looking for a new way to channel their energies. We've also found that while most of our volunteers are retired, that many of them are still working. They're looking to plan their retirements.
Smart.
They're
That's
looking
great.
to
beginning the transition a little bit earlier.
Yes, they're
That's
looking to
great.
really sort of just get into the transition and figure out, they want a new and different kind of retirement than
Yes.
previous generations.
And it really seems like it's busting the myth of what people think of getting older. It sounds like
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
you're talking about very vital people who have great
Absolutely.
skills to share.
Yeah. And we have placed volunteers in a whole range of activities. So sometimes it's what you traditionally think of volunteering, and sometimes some of our volunteers are running programs. Some of our volunteers are, many of them are serving on boards as well as being tutors or mentors or teaching literacy, doing administrative work. What we try to do is have as many options as possible for the people who come in. We have about 150 partner organizations, and they range from a little one-person shop that's run out of a dining room table to large nationally known organizations. They deal with a whole range of cause areas, as you can imagine. In Montgomery County, it's education, immigration, mental health, veterans, poverty, environment, and
animal rights.
Don't forget the animals.
Can I ask, how do the employers qualify? If they're interested in joining you in some capacity and getting these talented volunteers, is there a qualification aspect for the employers, or they just need to fill out a form?
Well, we work with nonprofit and government agencies, and the qualification is that they register with the Montgomery County Volunteer Center on that database.
Okay.
And the other qualification is what really makes this program unique is the personal touch on both sides, the guidance that we offer our volunteers, and the ongoing relationships that we have with our agencies. So what we do, the other requirement, I would say, is that we have a phone call, either together or independently, and we talk to them about their volunteer needs. Do they have a volunteer manager? And then we also help them to brainstorm ways in which they may not have thought to utilize volunteers.
So you really, it's more like a counselor. You're listening well and hearing their needs, but you're also making some suggestions that they may not have even thought about.
That's right.
So we're sort of a headhunter or even a matchmaker. We
Yeah,
like to think
I
of
love
that
the word
way.
matchmaker.
And sometimes we want to know as much as we can about that organization.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just as an example, like I said, the dining room table organization, that would be great for somebody who wants the challenge of helping somebody meet a community need from the getting in on the ground floor, and somebody who could really help build something. But for the person who's retired, who wants to get out of the house and meet new people and interact socially, that's not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that about the organization up front, which you may not know from looking at their website, but because we have that conversation, we know we're armed with the knowledge of what it's like to volunteer for this particular agency, and then it just helps us make that match and perfect our ability to find the right fit.
That's great. Sounds like a lot of legwork for you all up front.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me about the other side of the coin for the volunteer who's maybe new to volunteering, who hasn't done this before. How do you help them figure out where their skills lie or what's a good fit for them as well as the employer?
It all begins with an interview. So that is, again, really what makes our program unique. And when we were putting together our proposal, it was something that we did not find that any other organization offered at no cost whatsoever to the volunteer. So it all begins with an interview. We help the volunteer to figure out what he or she wants to do and where he or she might want to do it. And often the volunteer will come in and say, I have no idea. So we begin working through the interview, throwing out some ideas, asking probing questions, and then we follow up with an email giving recommendations of opportunities. It's very detailed. It includes information about the opportunity, a link to the nonprofit's website. Sometimes it is merely connecting that volunteer to our contact at the organization to figure out what might work best for the volunteer. And then we make sure after we hear back from the volunteer in terms of the opportunities that he or she is interested in, we then introduce the two of them and let them take it to the next level. And we constantly follow up with both the volunteer and the agency. We want to make sure the volunteer is both placed and happy.
And actually, we follow up even going further. We continually follow up to hear about the volunteer experience. We'll check in with them 6 months later, maybe 8 months later, because what we find is when we talk to the agency, they tell us what it's like to volunteer there. But until you talk to a volunteer, you don't really know what it's like to volunteer there. So we're just trying to get as much of that. And sometimes what we then learn helps us to say that perhaps this place is or is not good for the next person who comes who comes in.
So you're really following them through to do a check-in and making sure that the fit is right.
And I don't want you to think that Gretchen and I are doing this all on our own, as much as we would like to take credit. We have 3 fabulous volunteers at the Volunteer Center who are our program advisors. So we're sort of leading by example, because we tell nonprofits all the time, you can have volunteers do all kinds of things to help you run your program. So we're using some great volunteers to help us run our program. And they're the ones that are actually doing a lot of that, the interviews, the matching, the follow-up, some of the research as well.
So that's a great example. Are you seeking nonprofits to come forward now? Are you maxed out? How does that
Never
work?
Never maxed out. We're always signing up new people. The 150 partners we have are sending us new opportunities all the time as their needs change. And we're constantly either hearing from or reaching out to new agencies. And sometimes it's prompted because a particular volunteer comes in who has an interest or an expertise in a particular area. So we may have somebody who has served in the military, and we'll reach out to some additional veterans organizations to see if we can we can add them to our little bag of tricks.
That's terrific. I'm sure people watching are eager to know how they can learn more. What's the best way to reach you and to fill out an application?
The best thing, if they want more information, there's more information available on our website, which is www.montgomeryserves.org. The best way really to reach us is through email. And our email address is 50plus@montgomerycountymd.gov. And once we receive the email, we'll be back in touch. The form that they fill out is simply just to give us more information so we can start thinking before we even meet with them. And then once they complete the form and send it back to us, one of us will be in touch to schedule an interview.
I would imagine some people really want to use skills that they've used before differently, and then some people may so some may want to go back into exactly what they've done, and some may want to I never want to be at X.
Well, exactly.
Again.
We always say that when we see somebody who has spent their career as a teacher, they either come in and say, I want to tutor, I want to help kids with this, or they say, I never want to see another book or another student again. So that's where we take all that into account.
And sometimes if they've been engaged in a particular profession, as you were alluding to, perhaps they're an attorney, they really do not want anything legal, maybe they want to use those research skills, or as Debbie mentioned, maybe they want to go the creative route. They don't want anything as cut and dry as law. So it's very interesting because when we do receive the application, we start to think about opportunities that might be a good match. Often, by the time we're finished with the interview, we're offering possibilities that we never thought would be a great match, and certainly that they had never thought of.
So you really are matchmakers in every sense of the word, because you're really thinking about the best fit for the personality and the needs of the organization, which is great. Is there anything new coming up? Are you trying something new as you move to year 2 of the program?
I was going to say we're looking to expand. We're really in expansion mode. So what we'd like to do is we've expanded, as Debbie talked about, our volunteer program advisors. We've expanded the number of program advisors that we have. And what we would like to do is expand the number of volunteers we serve. And we're looking right now, the interview does take place in our offices in Germantown, Maryland. And we are looking to expand and conduct those interviews at other places throughout the county.
That's
do some
great.
Regional sites for that.
You two, we could speak for the whole day, I think, about this great program. Congratulations on 18 months in, and
Thank you,
we look
Amy.
forward to having you back in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
When we come back, we'll meet the recipients of this year's Neal Potter Path of Achievement Awards. Stay with us.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. The Neal Potter Path of Achievement Awards honor recipients 60 years of age or better whose accomplishments and lifelong commitment to volunteer service make them outstanding role models for young and old alike. The name of the award honors former County Executive Neal Potter. This year, 2 distinguished people were honored, Jackie Frazier and Karen Bashir. Ms. Frazier could not be with us today, but we do have a video about her from this year's awards ceremony.
My name is Gretchen Frazier, and I live in Tacoma Park. And I came here 42 years ago, and I worked in the government, and I retired from the Department of Agriculture and Civil Rights. So I'm used to dealing with diversity. And when I retired, I decided to give back my time to the community. One of the things that I noticed is Tacoma Park it's very expensive to go to camps and have daycare, child care. So what I decided to do is take care of the insecurities in the families as far as not having the free lunch and the free breakfast, but I didn't want the families or the children to feel bad about just coming for food, so I added a learning component to it and called it Lunch and Learn Camp. And I started with 30 kids right here in this room, and it is now one of the largest camps in Montgomery County. The good parts about this camp is I don't just take one kid out of a family, I take the whole family. And we have a leadership for the big kids, and we have something for the younger kids, and it's taking whole families in. I also love working with the elders. I have a pantry here in this building that I serve disabled and elderly. I'm a distribution center for Educare, and they bring food in here, and then I distribute it out among the disabled and elderly people. I'm really happy that it's happening. It's working. My ideas have come true. I haven't done this alone. I have my mayor supporting me. I have all the different coalitions and committees and organizations. We all, I just love that rainbow thing going on, different things going on. And it's a wonderful feeling. And it consumes my time. A lot of times people say they're handicapped, but I want to show people and let people know we all have something to give every day. And I love being a volunteer.
We congratulate Ms. Frazier for her commitment to youth, people with disabilities, and for serving as a conduit for racial equity convening. When we return, we will meet Karen Bashir.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Here's your chance to save money and help the environment. Bring your reusable bag when you shop and you'll save 5 cents for every store bag you don't need. Retailers in Montgomery County charge 5 cents for the plastic or paper bags they provide. Why? Because plastic bags are the biggest single source of stream and waterway litter, causing pollution and flooding. And every year, Montgomery County spends $3 million on cleanup. So do yourself and the environment a favor. Bring your reusable bag when you shop. You'll fight litter and keep the change.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. I'm Amy Harbison. The other recipient of this year's Neal Potter Path of Achievement Award is Karen Bashir. Karen, welcome to Seniors Today.
Thank you, Amy. Glad to be here.
How did you find out that you won the award?
A phone call came while I was in the car from someone at the community Montgomery County Volunteer Center, Kathy, and I was just thrilled. And she, by the way, had been a previous Project Prom parent back in the 1990s.
Well, before we get into your organizations, you've had a very involved life in Montgomery County working with a number of organizations, and you yourself have been a teacher and a nurse. And
yes.
What are the volunteer activities that you're most excited about and I guess most involved with right now?
Yes, I'm proud to have been a teacher in the Montgomery County Public School System and a RN at our Muslim Community Center clinic, and also worked at NIH for 25 years, wonderful federal agency. Back in 1992, 3 of us, Bonnie Perkins, Meg Baker, and I, decided to start Montgomery County Project Prom Graduation. It's a coalition of 30 plus high schools, public and private, in Montgomery County, of parents who are concerned about alcohol use on high-risk nights like prom.
Right.
And we keep the students in a safe environment. We recruit parents, and they recruit parents, and we offer fun-filled activities that are alcohol-free and drug-free. And there's approximately 10 to 12,000 students every prom season that are coming to our events.
Wow, so you give parents real peace of mind having that program around. And you're also been involved in some other activities as well with the Muslim community.
Yes, that's true. I've been the past PTSA president. I've been, as I mentioned, a registered nurse at our Muslim Community Center clinic on New Hampshire Avenue in Silver Spring. And currently I run the Refugee English program, whereby we are placing currently 50 active volunteers from churches, synagogues, and mosques in the home of local refugees from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, who want to learn English. We just ask for 1 hour a week to go into the home, and the refugees are just so thrilled. Mostly women, but we have men too, among our 50 students who are learning, and they're just thrilled to have that 1 hour a week. For some of them, that's all the English they hear.
That's really rewarding work, I'd imagine. So what do you think makes you be so tied up in community and interested in giving back?
Well, I just, I feel blessed myself to have had all my basic needs met, and I guess just, from my background, my parents were involved in volunteer activity up in Wallingford, Connecticut, and I remembered when I was in high school, there were some boys that died, because of alcohol on, I think it was prom night. And this was back in 1965 when I graduated from high school. And the bowling alley, local bowling alley, offered after prom.
That's where the idea came from. That's great. Can you very quickly give me the websites that you wanted to plug for your 2 nonprofits?
Oh, sure. I'd be glad to. For the Muslim Community Center, it's mccmd.org. You would just go to Committees and Social Services, and you'd read about the Refugee English program.
Great.
We're always looking for volunteers. We've got 30 refugees on our waiting list.
Great.
So please come and visit us. And training 3 times a year at our site. And also for the Project Prom, it's mcprojectprom.org. Or you could Google Project Prom Montgomery County, and it'll come up.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being with us today and for your service to Montgomery County.
Thank you, Amy.
Here's the video we made about Karen Bashir from this year's awards ceremony.
My name is Karen Bashir, and I've lived in Montgomery County for 38 years. When my daughter was in high school, I saw a need for making sure the kids are safe on prom night, and 2 other people, Meg Baker and Bonnie Perkins, also came forward, and the 3 of us founded the Montgomery County Project Prom graduation group, or called Project Prom, mcppg.org, and we've had, over 12,000 kids every year coming to our post-prom events. Currently, the Refugee English program is taking up most of my volunteer time. We have wonderful volunteers. In all my activities, it's always the other people that make the difference, because it's not a one-man show. And I've got 60 wonderful volunteers from churches, synagogues, mosques that come and give 1 hour a week, one hour every week to a refugee person to teach them English and to be their friend. That's really what they want, because a lot of times they don't have a chance to speak English otherwise, and you can't advance in America without English language. I've known so many people from so many different walks of life, different countries, different races, different religious backgrounds. We come together to do volunteer work, and that's what we have in common, to try to help our fellow man, and it's heartwarming. I mean, there's so many more examples of many people who give much more time and effort than I have given, and in all my volunteer work too. Example, Project Prom, it's those thousands of other parents in Montgomery County that have stepped forward to keep kids safe on high-risk night. They're to be congratulated just as much as I am. And I know they're all encouraging probably their children to, give back is what the cliche you hear nowadays, and it's a good thing to live by, give back. Well, I think when all's said and done, when you look back, it's the people's lives you touch, in a special way. It's not the money you earn, the money you have in the bank. It's, those tidbits of moments when you realize you've helped a fellow human. And you carry that with you, and it keeps you going.
Well, that's it for this month's Seniors Today. Don't forget that you can access this show and a great deal of information about county services for seniors by going to the Montgomery County Senior website at montgomerycountymd.gov/seniors, or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000. And as always, thank you for watching Seniors Today.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going.
Recycle more now.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.